Hey everyone, this is Grinning Griffin, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Breaking Character.
Hey, Joe.
You better not.
I'm gonna say
Recording
this
is in
doesn't seem
progress.
fair.
I mean, okay, I'll allow Jacob to do it because he never gets to.
Yeah,
Fair.
to be fair, one, I
fair.
never got to do it, and you just asked Josh and Krista not to,
Yep,
and you didn't say anything to me.
that's because I felt bad. I started that way back when. I think I started it. I might have been the second person to say it, but
We should definitely get that on a T-shirt. It just says recording in process, and it says a little red dot that says REC next to it.
maybe. But for today, we have, as you heard, we have J. Sterling Ellis, we have Krista, and we have Josh. I am, of course, Justin.
Of course.
I don't know who's going to be the host.
We're all the hosts.
We're all the host. This is sort of a round table-esque fireside chat where we talk about the campaign, past campaigns if we want to, talk about our characters in the third person. We're talking about them instead of being them.
Yeah, the goals have a more laid back feel and can help us work stuff out with our characters, but also kind of give everybody a peek behind the curtain. And yeah, eventually we would like to kind of talk more deeply about stuff. Some topics are gonna be pretty deep and metaphorical.
Mhm.
Some of them are gonna be really silly and really fun. Also, no, it's not going to be super dry.
Hopefully.
But yeah, it's like fun and games.
We aren't capable of taking things too seriously.
That's fair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, the B team was supposed to be like a serious campaign, and then I think the very first thing that happened was Karen said, "I named my character. His name is Hatchet Head Axe Arms." And I went, "Okay, this is going to be
You are
this
not
is
going
be
to
a mash
get.
situation where it's half funny, half serious. I know it."
Yeah, you are not going to get a serious conversation 100% of the time. One, with the people who you're friends with,
Yeah.
you've made bad choices, and two, if someone names their character Hatchet Head Axe Arms.
Or,
What is my name, Justin?
I'm just give me a second. I gotta find a good one. I know it was what Christmas time.
Christmas time marinara sauce.
Yes, that was one that we used for a very long time.
Yes.
Maricasso cherry or something like that.
Maraschino.
Maraschino cherry.
I don't know.
God.
So technically, it would be cherry maraschino.
Yeah, it would be.
Which is actually kind of close.
That's a really cool name too.
Yeah.
That is like, of all the offices she could have walked into, Cherry Mary walked into.
Cherry Mary.
Well, Cherry Mary sounds too cute.
I don't know. It could
Cherry
be
Maraschino either sounds like a burlesque name or a drag name.
It does sound well. I was going more burlesque just because like LA Noir.
See, I was going with the LA Noir, but mobster.
Yeah.
Like the daughter of the Dawn is Cherry Mary. Cherry Maraschino.
That's fair.
She's your cherry bomb.
But what is my name, Justin?
Cristobal Marinescu.
Yes, that is
Also
one of
Krista.
my names. Well, yeah, that too. Ironic. And I didn't actually ever think about that until now.
Hey, I mean, all three of the characters that the people listening know of mine start with a C. Corbin, Callum, and Kat.
All right, fair.
I mean,
usually my characters are one word.
One word and one B word.
That's
Yeah,
true.
actually, they were both B, weren't they? Because Breeze
Yep.
and Bliss.
And Bet.
Bet. Yeah.
And that.
Bet in the one with Cass.
Yep. And technically, you didn't start out with Karen.
No, that wasn't by choice.
No, that one wasn't by choice. I just named them because Karen was supposed to be the one to play that character.
I like that
she wasn't able to.
I also like that we eventually made Karen the Eldritch Knight.
Yeah.
Into Karen's just the name. It's actually Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the picture of Terry Crews, when you put all your points into charisma and strength. That meme.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my OG D&D character.
Yeah. Everyone except for Josh started playing together, basically.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. The campaign that was supposed to be like 8 episodes or 8 like sessions long, and it was supposed to be me, Nova, and Jacob all switching back and forth for DM.
Mm-hmm.
That then turned into a 3-year-long campaign.
Years.
With
years
a second.
Of our lives.
Oh my god. Yeah. And like, I was learning how to DM the entire time, and yeah.
Well, we started at level 3, and
I wanted everyone to have their subclass.
I'm looking at Darius's sheet, and Darius is level 17. So that just gives everybody a sense of how long.
Oh my goodness. And like, we had some breaks in between. Like, we always took Christmas, basically most of, if not all of December and part of January off. Yeah, there was a couple times when people had things like theater. They were doing plays, so they couldn't make it for a time. So we just kind of put it on hiatus. But geez, there's a lot of sessions, almost all of which I did not prepare for.
Yeah.
Now, there were a couple, like, I would be at work and then get an idea, so I'd quickly write it down while on break or something. And
using work time to do something for D&D, my God, I would never.
I said it was on my break. I was having lunch, and then I would be like, "Oh yeah."
Oh my god, dude! I've written most of the index on my break.
I know.
On my break, well working, because I would have time in between calls where I was just doing nothing. I'm like, all right, they're doing this now.
Yep.
When I used to take calls, I read books. When you took calls, you wrote books.
Yep. I never took calls, but while I was in between jobs, we call each project a job at work. There was a time when I was doing the second arc when I was writing that second arc, because I actually like fully wrote that out. I had like a week or so of just not having any jobs to work on. And I'd be like, hey, I need a job to work on. They'd be like, okay, cool. And then they wouldn't get back to me. They'd maybe give me one thing a day, which would take me like a half hour to do. So I had 7.5 hours to work on it. And like, I had to do something. Otherwise I'd just be like sitting around twiddling my thumbs being like, yeah, this is a lovely use of my time.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can use it for.
Yeah.
This all kind of segues into the concept that we have, or the theme that we have in mind for today's episode, which is inspiration.
Yes. What was the inspiration behind our characters, our many characters? So each of us have at least 2. Jacob and I both have 2. Krista and Josh have 3.
I have 2.
You only have 2. Sorry, you didn't joined. But Josh is the only person with 3, I guess.
In the Witch
I'm
Hunter role,
prolific.
Yes. You are highly sought after, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
How many characters do I have, Justin?
I don't think that really counts.
I mean, you have. Let's see.
1.
How many DMPCs have you brought in so far?
I haven't brought in any DM. So I actually
Monkus.
Monkus is not a DMPC. I don't have a
He's just
character.
an NPC.
Okay.
He's just an NPC.
Who can make milkshakes?
I don't think that's true.
I do not.
He doesn't follow the group.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah.
I do not like to interject for you guys and stuff like that. So I prefer my NPCs as almost like set dressing and stuff like that. So they're there. And I know the rules enough around them to have them do what I need them to do. But like, I wouldn't count myself as a player amongst you guys because
Okay.
you guys.
So you
you
have
guys-
1.
Yeah, you can definitely look at it as I have 1 character.
Okay. I guess we could instead for you have that one, but then also your inspiration for the world. Because you are the one who created it.
Well,
And the characters within.
Yeah. You're all the characters that aren't us.
I mean, what's really kind of funny is that this entire not the entire idea in general, but like originally I had the idea of write the book, but to incorporate D&D, I was like, I have this one section way over here in the left side of my map that I'm calling the Shivnary Isles, and I have no idea what I want to put in here. So I'm going to get a bunch of people together. We'll run a game, and they'll help me populate the islands. And that was the game before this.
The one that we call the prequel campaign usually. If we mention it.
So where like you played Cat.
And
where-
Motley played Ori.
Exactly.
And
references back to that.
yeah. And we've already done some references to our previous characters. Ori was literally in the first couple sessions of Irridon and is one of the B team. Mostly because I wanted Motley to play Ori again. I had asked everyone for that campaign to have with their character a time when they were like basically a bad moment in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Some people did. Some people gave me full autonomy with their backstories. Josh, thank you.
No prob.
We kind of
You kind of
workshopped
did as
mine.
well.
Yeah.
So yours, I'm not going to tell you what it is exactly, but it was in general when you got freed.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
For Donovan, Jacob wrote his own because I had no ideas for Donovan's. So Jacob, I just said, you write it. And he's like, okay. Because he knows that all these things are happening. He is an active participant, I guess.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell everybody more about Donovan.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that as well. But I guess since we're talking about the B team, do you want to talk about your inspirations for each of your characters there? To segue into why we're recording.
Yeah, right. We did have a reason here.
Fuck,
Sure.
we're recording?
I'm going to be the master
In
of
progress,
segues.
didn't you know?
So I guess, Jacob, what was your inspiration? Do you want to go last?
I'm just gonna plead the fifth. And
What does that mean? Why do you get to do that?
because anything that I tell you about Donovan is a possible spoiler.
That's fair.
Anything you tell us at all?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, man of mystery.
Okay, then. How about numeral 3?
Sure, I can talk about numeral 3.
I love numeral 3.
I am a big fan myself.
I just love them.
They are, a robot who doesn't know much about their past. It's one of the very first times I've ever been like, hey, I'm not going to write down this 1/2 to 3 page backstory. I'm going to leave it to somebody else this time around. And then we work together to get this character to work with Bliss. But yeah, really, I wanted to kind of, I'm not exactly sure how it came to be, but I wanted them to be my very first attempt at min-maxing, if you can understand.
Oh, yeah.
So that is why they are so fast and hard to hit. I was basically like, hey, I want them to be able to be fast as shit, hard to hit, and can steal anything off of anybody. That's why
that makes sense.
Yep.
That's why they're like 4 different classes all blended into one. And that's why I don't have very many hit points either.
I had an idea kind of like that with Donovan as well, just with the subclasses that I picked, where I had this idea in my head of like these 2 classes in particular, or subclasses in particular, work together thematically and mechanically, because it's a swashbuckler rogue and a College of Swords bard. So yeah, I 100% think that's really cool, the way that you've set up and have all those kind of balls in the air and how you navigate that. I think that's really cool.
I found it very fun to be like caught in like this trap of people and being like, fuck you, bye-bye, and just go right by them and them not be able to do shit about it. And I was just like, and yeah, I would have loved to have explored them fighting on their own.
Yeah.
But I knew there was a pressing matter that needed to be taken care of, so that's why they were like, nope, I don't have time for this. I'm gonna just keep on going.
Yeah, you had like what, 150 feet of movement speed?
Yeah,
something like that. It was just like, oh my god, okay, I can't I can't keep up, so within like 2 rounds you're out of the combat. Cool. And you were the only one who rolled combat. By the way, the fight is going to restart because it's been like 6-7 months since we last played, and no one's going to remember anything of what happened. So we're just going to all like start back from max health, max everything.
Oh,
and
cool. Okay.
do the fight over again, because otherwise, there's going to be like why did I use that? Why do I have like 3 spell slots left? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like it'll show because it's been a while since we played the characters.
It has.
Yep. How about yourself, Cristobal? What was your inspiration? Unless, Josh, you have anything else to add?
No, I I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
If I come up with anything else with an idea that somebody else mentions, then I'll probably bring it up. But until then,
Um, so we did that recorded thing that you wanted to do,
Oh, yeah.
Justin.
We didn't actually record anything, but I wrote it.
No, you did record
Yeah.
it. I think.
No, we recorded
no.
it. No, maybe we didn't. I don't know.
I don't remember recording it. I know that we were going to, but someone couldn't make it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the radio play that we had the idea for.
Yeah.
Right. So we were doing that, and the ambiance was like where I got what I wanted to do with Cristobal, because I don't know. I don't usually play like really happy chipper characters, just because I don't really find that very fun.
Character's
So
literally named Bliss.
What?
I said your character is literally named Bliss.
Okay, yeah. But I'm thinking of like, I don't know, like the Breeze or like Karen or whatever. Bliss is definitely very chill, but Cristobal, I wanted them to be like 90s, early 2000s, like super goth, vampire, depressed person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I always, when I pick a character, want them to be vastly different from any other character I've played.
That's fair.
So I wanted to do something really different from all of my other characters. And he's definitely really different.
That he is. Yeah. The radio play, Josh, I believe you were going to be one of the voice actors for that. Maybe?
I was, and then I didn't end up being a part of it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
None of us did.
Yeah, none of us did. It's still not recorded.
Gotcha.
Who was I going to voice Almost?
Yes. I believe I was going to have you do you were going to do Almost, and you might have done Vanity.
So you were saying you were almost?
Yeah.
Okay. So Almost, this name is Almost Hammer, which is supposed to sound like Almost Hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Because his father was Mastercraft Hammer.
Yeah.
Or MC Hammer. And that was the joke.
That was the joke from the island, and Almost was the son of that he became one of the NPCs on the boat that was traveling through the Shivneri Isles with the prequel campaign.
And did we ever know that his name was MC Hammer? Because we didn't say anything about it.
Oh, that was in the prequel. Almost is. I don't think you've met Almost either.
Okay.
The only person who's met Almost is Donovan.
So you in the B team, Almost's sister is a character.
Not sister. It was niece, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what's her name? It's been 7 months. I'm sorry. The girl with the southern accent that was helping everyone out. Donovan's roommate, basically.
Yeah. So Almost was like a smith on the ship, and basically was like an armorer for everybody.
He was.
In the prequel.
He is supposed to be an artificer.
Yeah.
And he is also a vampire or a something still blood.
Well, technically would almost kind of be a thrall.
Yes. Although he is no longer under control by Katerin, who's the one who turned him, because he was supposed to be killed off, but Katerin said no and turned him before he died.
And he's got a gnarly chest scar.
Yep. Yeah.
I wanted to send a message in the prequel campaign to just kind of show that shit was getting real close to the end. And a big bad escaped from holding, had a massacre across 3 boats, and carved actions have consequences into this guy's chest.
Yeah.
So that
Jesus.
was,
Yep. And yeah, Cadrin was a stillblood at that time. She no longer is, because there was a whole wish spell thing that went on, in which the exact wording was pure of spirit or something, pure of soul.
no, it was. I want Kat to return in full mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
And since they were a vampire, they didn't have a soul, so they reverted back to their original self,
which was an ASMR.
Which also caused part of what causes the B Team series to begin.
Yes, because the B Team series is taking place in the Shivenaria Isles, where Cadrin and all their adventures were. Yeah.
So Justin.
Yeah.
What inspired you, one, to make Cat?
Oh God.
And 2, what inspired you to then create the storyline for the B Team?
Okay, so my inspiration for Cat really was Arthurian tales. So way back in, I think it was 11th grade, right, Jacob, where you and I we read Le Morte d'Arthur, and that era of medieval literature. And I kind of always found it amusing when you found the evil knight, they were wearing black. It was the Black Knight that was the evil one, when the Black Knight was not the evil one in Le Morte d'Arthur. It was the ones who wore red who were evil, and the ones who wore black armor were supposed to be the strongest threat. So they are the biggest challenge, but they are not necessarily evil. And so I wanted to kind of make a character who was teetering between good and evil. So I made Kat, who was a paladin. She originally was kind of like a missionary / the person who was sent out to this little town called Githra, if I remember right.
Yep.
Githra. Okay. This small town / village, not very many people, to be their priest almost. So the person who, I was also reading a book where it was about actual paladins, or not actual paladins, but a fantasy story about paladins who did a similar thing where the 2 main characters were actually competing against each other in this small town before a big fight happened, and they had to band together. And I kind of made this backstory similar to that, but instead of the siege that was happening with that book, it was with vampires or stillbloods. And so Cadrin had a real hate on for vampires, stillbloods of all sorts, and had a lot of, I guess, repressed anger issues, where when she was defending the town, because it was just her and the town militia. She was the only healer. She basically was out of all of her healing. And one of the kids, who his name escapes me. Yorick, yes. Yorick, his family were killed the previous night, and his father was killed the previous night, and his mother was taken as prisoner from the last raid on the town. And so he was gung-ho to go and get her back. And Cadrin kind of tried to persuade him, hey, I am out of everything, I need to rest. And then once I'm rested, we can go together. But when she woke back up, he was already gone. So she basically went solo dolo out into the enemy camp, trying to find both York and his mother, who I don't think we ever named. But she found the lead, like the leader of the army. He was sleeping. It was daytime, and they were all sleeping in their tents. So she found the leader and basically murdered him while interrogating him of where York was. But she never found the answer. And when she finished with that, as she left, she was found out, so she had to escape. But what she didn't realize was, while half of the army was sleeping, the other half was attacking the village, or the town, sorry. And so when she got back, it was razed to the ground. So basically, she became an oathbreaker because she didn't protect the people who she was supposed to. And she was on the run because she was basically running away from the law, which was, you know, it's your fault, these people died, you're going to stand trial, sort of thing. So she was basically running away from her problems and all that. Long story short, she was a complicated-ish character. Whenever she would do something good, she would get a little bit of gold filigree into her armor, because her armor was pitch black. Yeah, whenever it got like cut or broken, she would go and put filigree in. When she did something bad / evil, she would get red on it. And that was kind of the inspiration of, hey, what side is going to take control? And then after a while, she started getting closer with a vampire who, do you remember the name? I don't remember any names. I'm sorry. Gilfrin, yes. Gilfrin was one of the first vampires like in existence. Or Stillbloods. Same thing. So he was very powerful. He actually became her patron. So most of the people who take the Oath of Blood Paladin, which is the one that Jacob and I made for Cat, and that Cristobal also uses, their patron is sometimes Gilfrin.
Okay. That's neat.
Yeah. So yeah, she basically learned to let go of her hatred for Stillbloods and then became one herself.
Neat.
Well, it's not quite happened with what happened with me, but
No, not quite.
cool that we have the same type of patron.
Yep. Your patron is someone else. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, I assume my patron is someone.
Yep. Anyway, so for the Isles, at the end of the prequel campaign, she went through a portal, and that was more or less I'm gonna get my martyr character out real quick type thing of her like sacrificing her freedom to keep everyone else in the party safe while they destroy the portal behind her. And there's a lot of roles that didn't work out because there was a lot of opportunities in which they could have gotten her out, but every time it missed because her armor class was a little bit too high. Basically, someone had a grappling hook on their crossbow, and they kept trying to shoot it out and kept getting too low. And every time it got shot out, I had to roll perception to see if I heard or saw the grappling hook, and I also failed. So she was just stuck there the entire time. Yeah, basically, like, if she stayed there as a Stillblood and everything, and like had nothing to drink, she was like going mad from her thirst. That was kind of the inspiration of, okay, let's create a campaign around that, or like a little mini series around that.
I like it though. That's cool.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone about that.
I'm not telling anyone anything.
Don't tell anyone, Motley.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to, but eventually they're going to find out. You know that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That's the point.
I just want their reaction to be recorded.
No, that's fair.
Legitimate.
To be fair, that's kind of the game for us, isn't it? It's like, let's get a rise out of Motley.
It's mostly Motley, but now we have Gabby. Gabby also with their theater background. Because
I thought I was going to make Crescentia. I thought I was going to make Gabby cry,
oh my god.
and they were like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just acting." I'm like, "You sound like you're about to start bawling."
Oh no, they already were. Like they were sniffling and like I couldn't see them, but I could like tell that there were tears.
And that's a sign of a good actor.
Yep. I was just like, oh my god, because I was muted during it because I was the one that was recording, but I wasn't like doing the negative one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Technically, it's not a negative one shot. I mean, technically, but the negative one shot was like shots were their own season. They were like season 0. Her negative one shot is an actual episode of season 1 to help pad out the runtime.
Yeah. I guess talking about season 1 and the main characters, let's talk about our main the main like Galterra crew, and then also Callum, Rebecca, and who wants to start? I've been talking for a while, so I'm gonna need a drink.
That's legit. Yeah, I can talk about Bliss. Bliss is just not very deep at all. I mean,
where did you get the idea for Bliss?
Okay, so here's the thing. Brett and I, like 2 years ago, maybe 2 summers ago, were floating down the river, like tubing, as people do, drinking and
side
talking.
note, I'm going down the Nash Walk on Sunday.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, so we were tubing. It was just the 2 of us, so we were talking about D&D, and like what type of characters, because Jacob, you had brought up that you wanted to have this game, so we're talking about like what type of characters that we could have. And because we were drinking, I don't know why, but we were like, our characters, one of them should be drunk all the time and the other should be high all the time. And that's kind
Is
of
that why he's drunk all the time?
well,
That's hilarious.
it was kind of where it started.
Okay.
Was just that's like, wouldn't it be funny if our characters were just like perpetually on something and like strange? I don't know, did strange things. And Goon is definitely strange. Bliss isn't maybe as strange.
You turn
And
into
then
a
mine,
wombat.
well, yeah, I can turn into other things.
And it drove Tuba through a portal.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything like that.
Don't blame that on Bliss. Bliss wasn't even there that day.
I'm gonna say, I don't think that's my fault. Because of Goon's arm, or so we were thinking about like what type of characters that would bring us, and Tommy Chong always plays interesting people, and they're always kind of the same trope.
Yeah.
But specifically the water buffalo in Zootopia, it was kind of like, I just thought that would be a really cool character to play and be. And as I said with Cristobal, I never like to play the same type of character.
Yeah.
So this one is vastly different than Cristobal.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've never played a druid. So the way that their magic works and stuff is different, and I like that. And the ability to turn into animals.
You just wanted to bring back Karthus.
Oh man, no one will ever replace Karthus.
I loved playing him just because I got to use the like dopey voice.
Well, I mean, essentially, that's kind of what I'm playing. Only mine, like, isn't like juvenile or like
Yeah.
dopey in any way. He's just real chill all the time. Peace and
Karthus was
love.
actually a kid.
Yes.
He was more like, in human years, he would be like 16 or something.
Yeah. But so I guess I just want it because I do tend to end up in like some deeper characters, and I'm sure deeper things will happen with Bliss. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to play someone just super chill and peace and love and like flower child hippie person.
Yeah.
So that's what we got out of, and then Zootopia. So that's what we got.
Nice. I will say that while Paladin is the class that I play the most, I really do enjoy playing a druid.
Well, we had like, I think my favorite characters in any campaign I've really been in are usually the druids.
Yeah.
Like Ariel's character in our original
Yeah.
campaign was a druid,
Allie.
and then you were a druid, and so they've always been really good characters. I don't think I'm the standout character in our game at all, but I'm enjoying being Bliss.
Yeah.
I think everybody has their moments, and at least
Yeah.
that's what I try
Yeah.
to go for.
This is supposed to be like an ensemble type
Yeah.
from our group of friends.
Yeah, so something I tried to do in the prequel games, which I might end up doing here, was I actually had full sessions that were kind of focused particularly on one person.
But if you focused on Bliss, I don't really know what would happen. I would garden the whole time.
I have ideas. Justin knows.
Yeah.
I can get creative with it.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Bliss is very simple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, geez, for Katerin, the one that was specifically for Katerin was, hey, you're on your boat, but a ghost ship, basically. It's not actually a ghost ship, but a ghost-like ship comes up and starts attacking. So we go onto the ship to kind of counterboard them. And
I mean, there are, the way that we came up with Bliss's story, there are things that like Bliss does that could make for interesting story, like in my negative one shot and stuff that
Like
we haven't really touched on.
Yeah.
But like with the willows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's possibility for drama to be had, but mostly Bliss is just a really chill dude who likes their plants and hanging out.
Yeah.
Chopping off people's arms.
Only one.
We have
the other
to
one
be
said
okay
no.
with letting things go, Josh.
Arms do not count, Bliss.
In the grand scheme
Yeah,
of
you
things,
have to let things go when you're missing an arm.
in the grand scheme of things, what's one arm?
I'm just imagining Bliss during the French Revolution, just working the guillotine, being like, "You have to be okay with letting things go."
Chomp.
We all know that when Bliss kills people, it's in a much more tactful, sneaky way. That's
Yes.
probably the most violent thing Bliss has ever like outwardly done.
Was give
And it
people
just-
poison to kill their spouses.
Well, no, but I mean, like that's like a prettier way. Chopping off someone's
We're
arm is
one
probably
fucked up crew.
Yeah, you said that you weren't weird. You chopped off Goon's arm.
Well, that's not even as like a real human, like Krista, I do not think that that's weird because I think that it was shut up, Justin. Because I thought it was necessary. Like we had to do something. It was fucked up beyond belief. You've seen the movie 127 hours or whatever. Like
I have not actually.
okay, but you know what it's about.
Yes.
Remind me to never get in a plane crash with Krista. Because I know I'm going to get eaten.
Listen, Jacob, that's the only way that you survive. In the movie, when that guy is stuck in the cave, he has to cut his leg off. This is the thing. It needed to happen.
Krista, do you promise me if it ever becomes life and death that you will not eat me?
I won't. I wasn't gonna eat June. I am a minotaur. I don't eat meat. Jacob, I won't eat you, but if one of your arms or legs needs to be cut off, I will.
Okay. Can I have a say in that, though?
We'll see.
Depends on how conscious you are.
Keep in mind, Tuba still has that arm.
What is, why? For what reason does Tuba have the arm?
right now?
Well, Tuba doesn't have anything right now. For all intents and purposes, Tuba is dead.
Tuba had that arm.
Yeah.
Wait, I forgot the part where Tuba kept this arm? Why?
It's on ice, so it can be reattached.
Oh.
That's her intention.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Corbin was going to like graft the end of it so that it kept.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
But then Goon refused, but Tuba's like, you know what? I'm going to keep this anyway, just to make sure.
Goon has wanted to have a robotic arm pretty much since his one shot.
That might have been like the least bliss thing that I've done, but in my opinion, the most logical thing that I could have done.
Is the least and most bliss thing Bliss has ever done.
Well, that's like, I realized I maybe was straying from my character, which is why I was so keen in going back to like, we just have to let things go and the world will like maintain the homeostasis of like how things are supposed to be, because I was like, man, perhaps this is not how Bliss would handle this situation.
Maybe this is a bit too aggro.
But this is also exactly how Krista would handle this situation, so it's just how it was played.
That's fair.
So Josh, what inspired not just the character of Tuba, but how Tuba acted, as well as Rebecca, and how your inspiration for Rebecca will kind of show itself as you go forward with her and Carlos?
Not a problem. Well, for Tuba, it was basically, I asked you what kind of characters everybody else is playing. Realized there was like no real healing aside from potentially Druid. So I was like, this group definitely needs a cleric. So I was like, okay, what kind of cleric? What kind of cleric? What kind of cleric? And then I was looking through and I'm like, peace cleric sounds nice. I'm like, all right, so I got a peace cleric. And I'm like, what the fuck else can I play? All right. And I'm like thinking, normally I play female characters. It just tends to be what I play. I like playing tiny females with really big weapons.
Love that for you.
In this regards, I was like, you know what? I'm going to play a really big female with a really tiny weapon. Well, tiny-ish weapon. So I was like, what's a really large thing that I can't see myself ever of playing before? And then I thought, elephant. Why not? So I looked up all the shit, put together the character, and I was like, all right, I know what I've got. And thus Tuba was born. As far as the way I play her, I kind of wanted her to be naive. And then through talking with Jacob, we were like, hey, why don't we make her like this really rich, privileged type character? So she has a heart of gold, but she's not experienced much in her life, given everything that she wants. She works hard, so she's like very good at what she does, but she has very few friends, or has had very few friends. And when she was grouped together with this motley crew of weirdos,
Hey.
she was like,
Molly just became part of the field.
I was just like, she would cling to these people. And when Goon showed her attention first, she was like, hey, I'm going to show attention too. And thus became the whole like Gooba or Goomba.
Please, let's not call it Gooba.
Type Goomba.
Yeah.
I like Goomba.
Ship that started to happen. But yeah, she is just trying to be nice. She has no idea what the hell's going on. She has no romantic attraction to Goon, but she does have a very big fondness for him. He's a big goof that needs help, and she's like, I like to help people, which is again why she's very concerned about Corbin too.
Yeah. I was like, speaking of people who need help.
She like almost every waking thought is on helping Corbin in some way, which is only interrupted by the shenanigans that Goon gets into.
It's mostly just Goon.
Yeah. Bliss and Imogen are pretty good. She finds them both pretty level-headed compared to Goon, and not as morally compromised as Corbin. So she hasn't invested as much attention to them because of that. But she does have a little bit of a resentment towards Bliss due to the whole cutting off Goon's arm thing.
That's fair, I think.
Tuba was pretty sure there was a better way.
Yeah.
That could save the arm.
Corbin was extremely sure there was a better way.
And maybe there was, but here we were.
But when they decided to do it, regardless, Tuba was like, if this is going to be done, it's got to be done right. It's just going to go bad the other way. And was Tuba right, or was Tuba right?
I don't know. I think it ended up fine.
See, you have people who are on the...
A few chops later.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do well, but I mean, I think it ended up fine.
Corbin wasn't even
because
there.
Tuba was there.
Yeah, Tuba was there. Corbin was outside of the lantern, keeping an eye on the cart, writing a letter to his wife.
But yeah, in a nutshell, that is pretty much Tuba.
Yeah.
Just
do we want to do Corbin and then Rebecca / Callum, or do you want to do Rebecca and then I'll do my two after?
We may as well stick by campaign first, and since technically they're still pretty much two separate things.
Yeah. Okay, so my inspiration for Corbin was two things. One being I've always wanted to play a character that was
Is our daddy?
basically, yeah, they were just ordinary. They were just an average person. And they were like swept up into this sprawling campaign, being like, I don't know what I'm doing, why I'm here, what's going on.
Did you think I said ordinary?
I did think you said ordinary. What did you say?
Our daddy?
Oh, our daddy. Sure. Oh, I am the father of the group. I tend to be like the parental figure of the group when I play. More or less, it's just kind of how I like to see myself as a person, is like the supportive, always in your corner type of person, or at least I try to be.
First, who likes being daddy.
I do not like being called daddy.
I do, but that's another situation.
that's a different a different breaking character.
That's for a whole different podcast.
Turn it down. Turn it down.
Yeah.
But I agree. I feel the same way about myself.
Yeah. And I also saw that, and that's kind of, Corbin was very happy to see that in someone else as well, because you were like the mother and I was like the father.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I always wanted to play a character that was like whisked away and like were way out of their element. So that's kind of how I play Corbin, as like, I don't know what I'm doing, and kind of why when he was first starting to do magic, he was just like putting his hand out. He was, the very first time he cast something was when Tuba touched one of the coats, or the cloaks, and it came alive. So Corbin like reached out to try to grab her, but instead cast the electric lasso spell, whatever that is. I've got his character sheet up. Lightning lure.
That doesn't sound anything like electric boogaloo.
Wish it did.
Yeah, basically, that's the first time he ever cast something, and he was just like, what? Because he didn't know that he had magic up until that point. And I knew that Corbin, as a concept, wouldn't really work without a reason to like go out in the first place, because like there's a reason why not everyone's a adventurer, is because they have bills to pay. Like they've got stuff they have to do, and they have lives and stuff. So to take this character away from their loving family, I had to put something in his backstory of like, hey, there's a reason why he needs to go out and get like money, and adventuring is the very risky but will make me a lot of money. And so I believe there's like a picture on Facebook which is really dumb, but there's like one of those pictures with words of like what I wouldn't do for. No, it was one of those like live, laugh, love type posters, motivational posters. And it was like what I wouldn't do for my love. And so I went, okay, maybe the reason why he has to go out is because one of his family members is sick. And then that's when Jacob, who had already made the spell plague, said, okay, they have one of your like family members has spell plague, and you need to get money for the treatments. And that kind of rolled into, okay, how would he get money? How would he get his powers? Because at that point I knew that I was going to probably get him to be a warlock. And so we decided, hey, what if he joined or basically felt like he was forced to join a gang, or he had this patron, which is like a person patron, who would give him money to get the stuff for the spell plague to keep Sandy alive. Then that person secretly was this warlock patron, and by signing a deal to do whatever he needed for that person, we were going to have him become a warlock at that point. And Jacob then turned it into, it's not just a person, it's a cult or slash a gang that's secretly a cult.
I was going to say, I thought it was like the mafia. That's
is.
what I thought.
It is basically the mafia. It's one of the gangs of Galterra, the Obsidian Fang, but their leader is Elderpawn, who is the dragon that keeps popping up in the game here and there.
Right.
The original god of dragons.
Yep. Who was deposed slash semi-killed. Can't necessarily kill gods. Yeah, he was imprisoned in Terra Vacnor, actually, which we'll talk about in a second. And then I forget her name, Elena something or other.
Elena Hedori.
Who is the mother of dragons, who is the good aligned, like the Bahamut-esque, but not actually Bahamut.
Yeah.
Goddess.
Yeah. Well, we won't get into too much of that, but basically, Elderpawn was evil and basically denied into heaven and are the heavens. Sorry, where the gods live. And Elena Hedori is the hand of the gods and does their will. So maybe that might be something important to know for the series at some point.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Spoiler, Opal, the character who died on camera in the B team, was one of the Valkyries of Elena Hedori.
Learning so much tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, that was kind of like my inspiration of, hey, the reason why he's going to go out is because his daughter's sick. And like what you wouldn't do for your child is kind of like the theme that I wanted to bring with him. And then kind of thinking more about it, how that would affect him mentally, of always being on the go, always working, always gambling his money away to get more money to get her medicine. And kind of sparked he's just like full on like clinical depression. He is fully depressed. He is fully exhausted all the time, which is kind of why when I talk as him, I use more breath. I'm kind of giving him a breathy sound, but it's more of I'm just too tired. I can't like speak normally. So I'm just like almost out of breath all the time.
Will more tea help?
No, it won't. I have the everything tea. It's not helping.
I don't know about that. I think it probably is.
Yeah. How corrupt is Corbin going to get by the end of this? And is he going to be able to survive even? Like,
no, Corbin's our dad. Corbin will always be fine.
The first time I went down since was when I used the overcharge thing. It's blister, and nearly killed myself. That's kind of just Corbin's deal. Is he's doing everything he can for his daughter. When he sees other kids with spell plague, he understands the parents who are with them and their desperation. So he wasn't like, he was kind of pissed at the dude who brought the ooze monster, the Oobleck, on the town.
This was like a spectator or something like that.
Yeah, and an Oobleck.
And Ooblecks.
Ooblecks, sorry. He was kind of pissed at him, but when he found out, his kids have the spell plague, and he was trying to save them. He's like, okay, I can understand it. I'm going to let you go, but you have to realize like there's a better way to do this.
And I will manipulate that for as much as I can.
Yeah, you will. I also like to leave. I don't like killing off background characters or like backstory characters. So everyone except for his mother is still alive. His mother died. She actually had the spell plague and died of it, but he didn't know it at the time that was the spell plague because this was like before it was a major thing. It was only really once his daughter got it that he realized what it was, or he found out what it was, because they were kind of talking with Salingsa about like, hey, we're not bringing her to the college, but is there something that we can do to wake her back up? And they said no. And like this is before anyone with spell plague was forced to go to Salingsa, which is a plot point that we haven't touched on yet. Right, Jacob?
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting you to continue on with that, but it's fine.
Well, I have stuff set in motion for possibly the next game or the game after, like the next session or session after, for that, because I have called this game the Witch Hunter Wars for a reason. So war is going to start breaking out, and Salingsa and the politics around it are pretty much at the middle of it.
Woo!
Also, Sophie, who is Corbin's wife, she is a possible character that I could play, like if Corbin dies, but she's a barbarian. So basically like a mother's rage. I believe we are. I don't know if it's going to happen, so I'll kind of say this with take this with a grain of salt. This may not happen as a plot point, but Sandy is supposed to be taken from our home and taken to Salingsa, and this is like the female version of Taken, where she goes on a rampage and basically goes to get her back.
I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want, but I have a special group of skills.
I have she was a tanner by trade, and I was looking at basically tools that tanners have, and one of the things is like the large. It's almost like a giant cleaver, but it has handles on both sides. I think it's used to like cut the hide, but that is the weapon that she uses, is one of her tanning weapons, one of the weapons or one of the tools that she had for tanning.
Jesus, terrifying.
Yep. Yeah. I also like having just random appliances. Like Corbin has a light hammer, which is just like a little hammer that he used for making shoes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a cobbler, and I admire this.
Nice. Yeah, I went, hey, I kind of want to make this person like a guild member, like a valued member of the community. And so I went, hey, shoemaker. Because I was just looking at the list of like tools they would get with guild, the background. It's guild or member, guild something. And one of the things was cobbler's tools. And I went, hey, shoemaker. Okay. And so I went and looked for like English last names, like Old English, what shoemakers their last names became. So kind of like Smith was blacksmith.
Right.
Laster is one of the names that was given to people who made shoes.
Oh, interesting.
Because the little wood piece that you build the shoe around is called the last.
Yeah.
And that's about all I know about shoemaking.
That's okay.
I'm talking about backgrounds, and choosing the background. When I was thinking about Tuba, I was like, I want her to be like a diplomat type character. So since there was no actual diplomat background, I went and created my own. Went through Jacob to see if it seemed okay, and he was good with it, and that is pretty much how we came up with the whole daughter of a religious diplomat type idea. And that's why she's rich.
Yeah. Do you guys want to do your Terravacnor characters, and then we'll do like one more question and finish up?
Sure. Well, Rebecca. I've always wanted to play a Kenku, and I was given the opportunity to play anything I wanted. So I was like, how can I play a Kenku when a Kenku can only repeat what they've heard before? I'm like, well, if you think about it, a Kenku has probably been around other people before and picked up different things long before they ever met the party. So I shouldn't have to rely on things the party have said prior. So I decided on the idea of this Kenku speaking normally, but in like different voices for different inflections of words, depending on how she's heard them in the past and how she wants to put them together. So basically, I was like, okay, when she speaks, she's got this otherworldly, like 2 to 5 voices all saying the exact same thing in a specific tone to make sure that every word is said in the proper way that she wants it to be projected. So every word is, or every sentence is just like a multitude of different voices, different combinations of voices, and voices even both at the same time kind of idea. I picture her tongue being split right down the middle as well. That helps create the sounds. I hear that that's something that you can do to crows to help them speak regularly. But basically, I feel like she would have the 2 split tongue, be able to talk multiple voices at once. She's got a good intelligence, but being a sorcerer, obviously, she's got a huge charisma. However, she is a very bitter, protective, cranky little girl with a huge amount of guilt upon her, which is something that I wanted to project in Carlos, her little brother, who is this undead little creature who I don't think I've ever actually expressed in the actual game as yet. But
I think you did when we were playing with the Irridan crew. A little bit. We knew that he was undead.
He is undead, and she feels responsible for his death. So she has the ability to raise the dead every day. And she uses this ability to raise her brother every day to make sure that he stays with her so that when she can finally resurrect him to real life, he'll be right there. However, he's still rotting as time goes on. And he's still dead.
Apart.
Yes. He's missing most of his feathers at this point in time. But she like protects him like he is an egg in a shell. but an egg in a shell that can obey her commands. So she will never send him out to fight. She will never do anything along those lines. She will always send him to the safest possible spot that she can possibly find. Currently, right now, it's the lantern.
I don't know about that.
However, if she were to leave him in the lantern and happen to forget about him, there's just going to be this dead crow person lying on the ground somewhere inside the lantern.
I also
But-
like.
You go ahead.
I also like Rebecca's eyes. I think those are
Yeah.
cool, not just because I was like, hey, are you okay with doing this? I'll give you this for it, because I thought it was a cool addition.
Well, when I chose my class or subclass, I wanted to actually use something that you created for the first time. And give it a go. And when I saw this Dreamscape Sorcerer, I was like, that is my jam right there. I am all about dreams and nightmares and all that stuff. I rarely have any, so that's why I am super fascinated with them, because there's something I super rarely experience. So I was like, I'm going to make this character that has this connection with the dream world. When I told you that, and then you were like, hey, can we do something with her eyes? And I was like, I love that idea, actually. And I'm like, and can we cover her eyes? And you're like, sure. I'm like, how about the only way she can do her magic is if she uncovers her eyes? And you're like, how about if when the only way she can do her magic is if she uncovers her eyes and weird things happen to her eyes? I'm like, that makes sense perfectly to me. Let's do it. So now she's got really crazy eyes that you don't see until she's casting a spell. And then all hell breaks loose within her skull.
Yeah, like the first time that she cast a spell, we like pantomimed it and put it all up, where she like pulls up her eye coverings and it's just like two indents, like where eyes would be. There's nothing there. But as she starts to cast the spell, it's like bits of mana that start to glow inside both the holes, and then the spell's cast. I just thought that was really cool, and I was like, hey, I'll give you like 60 feet of blind sense if you let me make you blind.
And I was like, sure. That makes perfect sense to me. Kind of being able to see, but not being able to see. And no matter if it's light or dark, I can only get so many distance no matter what. So give or take.
Nice.
And what about Callum? What inspired you to do Callum?
So, last and certainly least, because I don't think we're ever seeing him again.
No, I will say right now, there are plans for Callum.
Okay. I don't know how So he's not being played until Corbin's gone. So don't be killing Corbin just to get Callum back.
You never know. He could be
Yeah.
a side character somewhere,
Maybe.
doing his own thing, helping in the distance.
We literally left Callum on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah.
It was literally, you go like the rest of the crew of the Irden crew jumps through the portal that leads you guys to um, the Galterra crew, and you're in a room by yourself. The door's about to break down, and there's a bunch of those creatures. Which also, I need to remember that Spike went through the portal as well.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about Spike last game. I will not continue to forget about Spike. But you've got a bunch of mutant lizard spiky guys that are about to knock down the door, and then it just, cuts to the other group, right?
I believe you said that the door burst open and I was covered by the like chairs and things that I had.
No, the chairs are up against the wall. At most, it's like it'll burst open once they're all through the portal, and then like we've left it very ambiguous.
Yeah.
So I will say we will find out what happens to Callum.
Okay.
Eventually.
To be fair, to go towards another D&D podcast for a quick second. One podcast took in their third campaign recently had 3 of their former characters all in one with 2 players. So they had like 2 of their first campaign characters, 2 of their second campaign characters, and 2 of the third campaign characters all in one go. But it was the DM who controlled the previous characters. So it is always a possibility.
Yeah.
I have floated the idea, although I don't know how viable it will be, of like a final showdown with Gazarid, where people get to play multiple characters, kind of doing different things during that time. I have toyed around with that idea. I don't know if that's necessarily what's going to happen there, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I guess Callum, I didn't make him for longevity. I made him because I knew that there was going to be very few people in the Irden campaign going forward because people had to drop out, and only having a game with 2 players is kind of not. It's doable. It's not super fun, I guess. And so when Jacob said, "Hey, does anyone else want to create a character to help out?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So I was like, "I'll make a rogue." Sure. They don't have a rogue. I don't know what he's planning, so we might have to do some fighting. And so I'll get a character that's, a lot of single point damage or single, like 1v1 people. I wanted him to be very naive, kind of like Tuba, but his naivety, the theme that I wanted to go with was don't meet your heroes. He absolutely idolizes a person called the Savior, who they were like the Savior. They were a protector of Bastion of, I forget the actual name of the city, but what we tend to refer to here as Bastion. They were the defender there and was like this almost mythic figure that Callum idolized as he was like a young kid, but they left, and after a long time came back, and they came back as the warden that we saw, the one that was riding a giant wyvern. That was the Savior. So I kind of came in with the theme of don't meet your heroes, because I know what the Savior became, and what they became is something that Callum would very much not be for. I also kind of
Yeah.
I wanted to get the edgy side character out of the way as well, so I made him an orphan. Um, he's an orphan who he's not necessarily an orphan. We don't know whether or not his parents are alive, but he was lost to Terabaknor as basically like a baby and has been raised there in Bastion ever since. So he knows Bastion like the back of his hand. He lives in like the attic space of a temple, and he basically had his like tiny little hovel that 3 people had to cram themselves into. It's like a 10-foot by 10-foot room. I kind of wanted to make him. I guess I kind of wanted him to be a little bit memorable, at least to Hestia and possibly to Rebecca. So when Hestia was kind of asking about Callum, he decided, yeah, I guess I'll tell this new ASMR from the material plane, hey, have you ever met my parents? Because my parents are supposed to be on the material plane. And so that's kind of what happened there. I also made him a big fan of collecting coins.
Rebecca was super suspicious of all that nonsense.
Of all the Bastion stuff, or of like Callum in general?
The whole, well, not so much Callum, but the whole, like, we are ASMR, let's become one cult, like, nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
She was just
Yeah,
like,
Callum was very like he was very tongue in cheek with the priest there. I forget his name.
and yeah, she was like, we shouldn't trust these people. We shouldn't trust these people. Fuck, it's too late.
Fuck, she's already getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now she's
So
calling,
she's very worried about what's going to happen with that thing.
So did I explain what Bastion was?
I know that I know what Bastion is. I don't know if you explained it though.
Okay, Bastion looks different from the rest of the realm of Terravaknor because it is not from the realm of Terravaknor. That's a piece of a different planet. So that's like the ASMR in this world. They're called Starborn. That's a chunk of their planet.
So it just like crashed into this planet?
It crashed into this realm. So Terravaknor is like purgatory. It's a large, dry, hot desert where the dead go. Or not the dead go, but people are imprisoned.
Yeah, we tend to call it the prison a lot as well.
Good.
And that's why the ruler is called the warden, because they're the warden of the prison. They're like they're the one who runs the show. Or they're supposed to be.
So Terravaknor is evil place. So Bastion is somewhere inside it and shouldn't be, or
yes,
the other way
around? Think of it like it's almost like a domed city where you wouldn't expect it to be.
I have something similar in my comic. Called Scurryport. And it exists in hell.
Terravaknor isn't so much a bad place as it is a place where it was originally built to house bad people, but there are a lot of people who end up there by accident.
Yep.
Like Rebecca.
Callum, technically, because he wasn't born in Bastion. He fell through a portal or something. Something happened.
It's not uncommon for like ships in the dreamscape to get caught in
whirlpools almost.
Well, it's almost gonna say like a gravity well, or like the gravity of the realm, and basically shipwreck into Terravacnor. That's definitely something that can happen, or get sent there from portals and stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the evil place, because there is
a hell.
there actually isn't a hell, but there is beyond the veil.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the veil is the evil place. That's where Gasford. Yeah.
Yes, that's ruled by the Dreadlord. It's always night.
Yeah.
Where the Nori and the Tithe are from.
Yeah. Also, Starborn and the Tithe are very similar. They're both refugees, but it's more or less like a racism thing where Starborn are more accepted and the Tithe aren't. Trying to remember how we had pitched it.
So the Starborn, basically the way that they have been made is that they came to the prime realm of Crescentia a long time ago. They blended in with a lot of the races, so there are a lot of bloodlines that don't know that they carry like Starborn DNA, and sometimes it can just happen. The Tithe escaped from the other side of the veil. Not all of them made it, and it was a very tumultuous time there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of their bloodlines are cursed. There's not a whole lot of them kind of to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's not like really a direct correlation between the two of them, like the Tithe and the Starborn, other than, personal friendships like Ori and Cat.
Yeah.
Which can definitely play up the kind of yin yang of it, because Cat was called the demon, and Ori's pretty much literally a demon.
Yeah, I do like how we had already known that Cat's nickname was going to be the demon, because that's what the government was calling her. She was a demon in disguise, etc. And that the first time that nickname was brought up was with Ori there, and so Motley was like, "Well, that's fuck off." And it's like, "Yeah, no, that's not you."
But so we're starting to get kind of to our time. Anybody have any other questions they want to kind of end the show on, or?
Yes. Mr. Jakob, DM of our dreams. What was the inspiration for Monkus?
For Monkus?
I'm glad you asked.
Because we all want to know about Monkus. He is currently our favorite.
Okay. I saw a picture on Instagram of a pink cow minotaur, and I just was like, I like how that guy looks. So came up with the name on a whim, and I was like, okay, he seems silly. I'm gonna give him wild magic. And I'll be completely honest, the milkshakes, I only had that idea because I thought he's a pink cow. He probably makes strawberry milk.
You're a child.
I was so hoping that was the answer. I was so hoping that was the answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
no,
love that for you.
100%. That's why he makes milkshakes. I thought that would be pretty cool. But yeah,
it's not
that's,
actually
I
his
did
milk,
not know.
though.
Pardon?
It's not actually
It's-
his milk, though, right?
No,
But
it-
I'm
the lovely
fairly
thing is
certain-
the people who didn't know, and then all of a sudden we're like, what?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm fairly certain we discussed that last week that he does
Yeah.
not make it with his own milk.
he makes it
Because,
with wild magic. That's why
yeah.
sometimes
I'm
they
s- I'm so glad my internet didn't cut out, or my computer didn't cut out before that.
yeah.
It cut out before all the action, but it
Mhm.
didn't cut out before that.
I mean, there was some action. There was a lot of tension up until yours cut out.
But yeah, so I guess we'll kind of end it on that. So our theme for today's episode was bardic inspiration. So I don't know if I'm going to do this for every show, but I'm just going to leave on a note for the theme, which is again bardic inspiration. So I hope everybody, takes a moment through their day after listening to this and rolls again. Just roll again. Roll the punches. Roll.
Oh, I was like right now, or
No, just
Do you need me to
just-
roll a d8?
No, it's like when yeah, you know what? There you go.
7.
you said roll again. I got a 5.
Whenever
wasn't
you're
good.
having a day,
Add a
roll
7
with
to it.
advantage. We're gonna give you inspiration. Roll with advantage, and just have a good day.
Jacob, I rolled again and I got a 1.
Hee
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
You're my
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
Rocks fall, Karthus dies.
Oh my god. Good night, friends.
I would like to thank
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.